All right, everybody. Well, thanks for being here. My name is Tony Procopio. Welcome on. If you're brand new to us and you're hopping on, I'm one of the co-founders here at Think Plus, along with my business partners, Jim Brendan and Ed Kenny. And we have a lot of things happening here at our company with all the technologies. You see that little slide there that, we had Chat GPT put it together? It's just cool because this is what Chat GPT thinks about what we're doing. It's been listening to me talk over time and meetings and all this. And I just said, hey, make me a slide that has to do with 2026 that expresses the cool technologies that we have. Like that's all I said. And this is what it came up with. Can you imagine? This is the greatest thing. I don't know that there's any company in America that could actually have this slide be their message for 2026. Having community solar with guaranteed savings, having autosave technology with guaranteed savings in that platform, with the thermostat program, the home thermostat program, and having guaranteed savings or guaranteed discounts, credits on your bill every month. And then, of course, the virtual power plant program, the home battery program that's looming and coming and on its way in 2026. It's just amazing what we have our hands on. So when you look at all these technologies and then you say, well, that's what we have going on. And then they throw this thing into the mix with Illinois during the holidays. Just I think right before Christmas, right before the New Year, they put out some information about this incredible program in the state of Illinois that we have available right now. And man, I'll tell you, I could not be more excited about it. I see Steve Condon is on here as well. Steve, we're making you a co-host so that you can unmute whenever you need to. But I will say that with what's happening right now with the Community Solar Commercial Multi-Meter Program, our Vice President of Community Solar has come on. His name is Steve Condon. And I've worked with him for the past few years here at Think Plus. He was actually part of this company before I was, before any of us were, because he was with our parent company, Energy Well, launching the community solar division. And there was a press release that went out and has his name on it before we even had Think Energy as our name, and Think Plus as our name. So he's been here working behind the scenes, making this go from the very get-go. So, Steve, I'm going to just hop on here. I'm going to see if I can spotlight you as well. And Steve, are you there? Are you with us?
Hey Tony, I'm here.
All right, fantastic. I appreciate you hopping on. I'm going to spotlight you, and we're gonna just kind of banter back and forth a little bit. I know that you did an incredible training, Steve, that you did with Kelly just before Christmas, I believe, and that was launched to the field, and it came out during the holidays, and a lot of people had a lot of things going on. There's a tremendous slide deck that went along with it, and some great information in that video. And I'm gonna highlight a couple things or just recap. But then, Steve, after we do that, I just want to come back to you and talk a little bit more about what's going on, with the company and what's going on with this particular program. So if it's okay with you, I'm just going to quick recap so that we get everybody up to speed, show them where the information that you've already provided is, and then we'll get right into it. Is that good with you?
That's perfect, Tony.
Okay, fantastic. All right, guys. So let's go through, first of all, and let you know that first, here's the announcement that came out. I think it was December 22nd. That's what it was. So right before the holidays, this expansion program into commercial and multimeter enrollments in the state of Illinois. And let me tell you what, Steve has been in this industry for a very long time. I've been in the industry probably, I think 7 or 8 years or something like that. He's got way more experience than I do. But I can tell you this, from working in the community solar space, for the past 7 years. Anytime you can have commercial capacity come into a market, and it doesn't matter whether it's utility consolidated billing or dual billing, it doesn't matter on the commercial side. It's an amazing platform because every business owner wants to get discounts. It impacts their bottom line directly. So we'll talk about that. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this call, because of how impactful it can be with businesses. So there's a 14-minute training video that Steve did with Kelly Broughton, our Senior Director of Training. If you have not watched it, you can access this right now. Just go to your web office and go to Think Success and hit the magnifying glass, and you can type in multimeter. I've tried it all different ways. You can type in commercial, Illinois, multimeter. If you just type in multimeter, it will take you right to this post. where you'll see this video. So you can play it. It's 14 minutes long. I've watched it 3 times since it came out. So guys, if I'm watching it 3 times, you guys should at least watch it once. Everybody should watch that video. There's a slide deck that goes along with it so you can follow along. You can take screenshots. You can do whatever you need to do. They went through and talked about how this commercial capacity is now available in the market, and it's through this partnership with Nexamp. Okay, we're not, the purpose of this call is not to go through the entire slide deck over and over again because this has already been done and updated. So I'm just gonna touch on a couple things. It allows for multiple utility accounts with annual usage. We'll get into that with Steve in just a sec. We're going to talk about the difference between residential and commercial. That's what this training did. And it talks about the cart experience and how simple it is. And we'll go back and forth on this as well, because you can do this right on your website. There's a screenshot of it. Here's the platform that's available to the customer. And then Steve will talk a little bit about entering those customers in potentially, and then what to expect after submission. So again, this is just a quick summary of the slides, not going to go through every single thing on here, so that you can understand that we have some information here about how it's going to work. And what we'll do now that you've seen a little bit about this platform is I would like to talk to Steve, and we're going to talk a little bit about how big of an opportunity this is and why it's so big within this market. And then we'll talk about how and who you should be talking to about this program. And so, Steve, I would first like to have you just, if you could just tell everybody why you're so excited about this as the Vice President of Community Solar for Energy Well, our parent company. Why are you so excited about this, about community solar, and specifically, why are you so excited about what we have our hands on here in the state of Illinois?
Nice. Thanks, Tony. So I think it goes without saying, I'm always through the roof about community solar. Any state, anytime, any customer. Absolutely love this stuff. It's been a long time since I've been doing it. So, but this opportunity in particular. So I think you guys already know I've kind of expressed my enthusiasm for Nexamp and that partnership right there. They have, the largest operating community solar portfolio in the nation, and it took a lot of work to forge this partnership, and we continue to expand with them. So Illinois was our first market to deploy with them, and it really was primarily residential, rate class accounts kicking off here, and that's what we see in most community solar markets is a need for residential rate class. So I think to Tony's point, there's any time that we have an opportunity to get our partners to take on commercial enrollment opportunity, it's a huge win, not just for us, but for you guys in the field as well. Because I think commercial, entities, customers are just generally underserved at this point in the community solar market. There's a huge demand for residential rate class and a lot less for commercial. And so what's really interesting here is that these commercial enrollments don't require 20-year agreements. Some of them are a little bit longer term, but generally speaking, it allows us to get in front of, not just commercial entities, but individuals who own multiple residential houses. It allows us to get into multi-meter enrollments. So that's unique and a great opportunity for us to bring on more customers here and kind of broaden our horizons and that net that we're casting into the market. On top of that, it does allow us to get into actual commercial rate class, which again is just greatly underserved in the market in general. So having Nexamp as a partner is a huge opportunity to broaden that net where we're casting out to into the field itself. So
Steve, I love that. It's just, yeah, it's a phenomenal place to be. So let me ask you this. So, look, we've had residential community solar in the state of Illinois through Nexamp for a number of months now, and we have a great partnership with them, been bringing customers in. One of the things that we do with Nexamp is it's dual billing with community solar. Okay, and so I know everybody, if you're new to this, there's utility consolidated billing in some states, and there's dual billing with some partners in some states. This particular partner with Nexamp is dual billing.
mhm.
And so, Steve, this has been my experience, and I'm going to kind of see if this has been your experience as well, because you have more experience than I do. But I can tell you that every time I've worked in a dual billing platform, There's residential customers. There's going to be a certain percentage of residential customers that take us up on it. They're going to, hey, I
Hmm.
already pay my bill. I'm on auto pay. It's great. If I can get a discount, great. I don't mind paying two bills instead of one, as long as I can get a discount. Then there's other people that are residential customers that are like, well, I'm kind of working month to month. I'm not sure if I can pay one, if I can afford to pay it all at once at the end of the month. So maybe I'm not a good candidate for it. So
Hmm.
certainly there's a percentage of people that are out there that are fine with dual billing.
Hmm.
But when we shift over into the commercial side, it becomes, in my opinion, or in my experience anyway, and I'm hoping that you can kind of help validate this, is that with commercial accounts, businesses especially, most of them, a lot of them especially, they just pay their bill. I mean, it's like I just put a credit card on it, we put it
Yeah.
on our ACH, we have our accountant pay our bill, we have our finance person in the finance department take care of it, whoever's handling
Yeah.
our books, our accountant. And so they don't even care that as soon as they hear they can get a discount,
Yeah.
even if it's just 5%, they're like, whoa, this is crazy. So has that been what your experience has been on the commercial side versus
It,
residential?
it is, Tony. Yeah, I think the understanding of the dual bill process seems to be far easier, or just more acceptable, if you will, for the commercial entities. I think the businesses just they've got lots of bills to pay. Depending on how large a business they are, they've often got help, and they're always looking for a way to save at least a couple of dollars in their energy space, under their energy rates and their business across the board. So I do think that definitely the paying a secondary bill has been much less friction, if you will, for the commercial businesses than that of the residential businesses. They're looking to
Yeah.
save money. They're looking for every dollar they can find, right? Keep that
Yeah.
business thriving.
Definitely. It goes right to their bottom line and they get that, and they're business people. That's why they exist, because of
Yeah.
that mentality as well. So I'm glad now Steve and I did not script this. We didn't even talk about this beforehand. I just threw it out there to say, hey, does he have the same experience? So you're getting the real thing here from both of us, right? So what
I,
and that's
I
what I
was sitting
love
here
about
saying, Tony, I hope you say this is easier because that's my opinion.
good. I'm glad. I'm glad we're being real, And so I wanted to see where Steve was on that, and you guys were all in check on this. But what I also did is I went and did my own research as well, and I've been in this industry for a while, and so I kind of know these facts and figures. But do you guys know that somewhere between 20 and 30% of people who have a residential electricity bill are on auto pay for it? They automatically pay their bill. It doesn't matter what state you're in. 20 to 30% is what bank rate says is the number of people who actually go and pay their bill through their utility company on automatic payment via credit card, debit card, ACH. So on the business side, that number jumps up to higher than 55%. So what Steve just said, what he's experienced and what I experienced is what the data is on the ground. It's the same. It's more than double in most places. So that's why we have such an amazing opportunity here. So Steve, I'd like to then and now ask you, like, if we're talking about industries, like who should we be talking to
Yeah.
about this, as
It's,
far as this opportunity that we have? And I'm just going to go through a couple of the slides here as well, but as we're talking, but who is our target audience,
yeah.
for this? And I'll add some things into it here and there, but who do you think we're looking for as far as these multimeter commercial accounts?
Yeah, I think we work our way up, right? Like I've got some friends and family that I know own rentals, and so that's kind of it's at some level low hanging fruit, right? If you have a friend, family member, someone you're connected to that owns a couple of residential rentals, it might be one unit, it might be 15 units, it might be more. That's a great opportunity right there, and so that's where we get into the commercial enrollment form is made for multi-meter enrollments. So one owner who has multiple meters to pay for every month. And then it's also made for, as we work our way up the ladder, actual commercial accounts. And so then we get into, the next level up would be kind of, it's your local sub shop. It could be, I call them the mom and pop shops, right? They're literally small commercial businesses. Their usage often looks like two or three residential households combined. They're just a little bit bigger, right, than an individual's household usage. So those are great opportunities, usually very familiar faces, people that you know, people that you engage with, people who are trying to run small businesses and again just save a couple of bucks here and there, and they're not afraid of the dual bill and adding their payment for an automatic transaction. So those are great kind of low hanging fruit from my perspective. I have literally signed up. I live outside of Boston, and I have already been through this with my local sub shops and family members and all the like in a dual billing scenario. Very similar kind of customer base, if you will. Of course, this is going back almost 10 years because that's when I started in the community solar space. So, but moving up from there, then we get into, it could be multi-tenant housing type scenarios, but also just larger entities as well. So I've seen a great deal of luck with franchises. Dunkin' Donuts often have usage, just for example, again, of anywhere from looks like 3 to 7 household usage kind of utility bills, if you will, and this is through direct experience from years ago. I often find like Dunkin' Donuts is a great example for me to use because I happen to have a friend that owns not one, but 15 of them. And they happen to have, they often spread across families, I've found, is that if, one sister owns a Dunkin' Donuts, it's not uncommon for the uncle, brother and parents to own one as well, if not 15 of them. So these are often very approachable opportunities from my perspective, and they often scale quite nicely from an enrollment standpoint. So that's how
nice.
I would think about it from a low-hanging fruit standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. So if we take that from a low-hanging fruit standpoint, let's take somebody who's say, okay, we have an energy advisor who's in Illinois, they're in the Chamber of Commerce or they're in a business networking group. I mean, are we talking like, hey, you can pretty much talk to any business owner about this? I mean, is that what we're talking about
Yeah, that's it, Tony. Yep. Everyone becomes an opportunity at this point. And so again, kind of moving your way, you'll find that there's kind of different ranks along the way, if you will. So, it's as you continue to dive into this space in particular, you'll come across the much larger users as well. And there's a home for them too. There's a kind of, if you go through the training deck, and I'm happy to talk about some of this here too, but we do touch on, what the different types of customers look like and the aggregated usage turning into agreements looks like. Because the reason that we're doing this a little bit differently, and you'll learn in the training deck, is that when customers go through the enrollment flow, they're adding their meters for evaluation. They're not signing an agreement right then and there. And we take that data and we share it with Nexamp. Nexamp evaluates the usage of the either individual account or aggregated accounts owned by one owner, and they determine, what type of contract is going to be the most appropriate for them, and it's all based on usage. So definitely go through the training, and I'm happy to, talk through some of these points as well further today.
Fantastic. Well, and we're going to get to some Q&A as well. I know people already have some of their hands going up right now, so we'll do that in just a sec. I just want to touch on this, Steve, as well. So if I'm in Illinois and I know people who are business owners, I can go into I can go into a restaurant, an Italian restaurant, a pizza place. I can go into I can go into a Subway shop. I can go into anywhere. Can I talk to a gas station owner, a convenience store owner? Those are all good,
Absolutely.
right? What if
Absolutely.
what if I bump into somebody that has, a realty officer, an insurance agency, or something like that? Would they be good?
Sign them up, Tony. Yep, they're
Okay.
all available.
Okay. So now if I'm just throwing these things out there and you're like, yes, yes, yes. So what businesses wouldn't be? If there are any.
Honestly, everybody's an opportunity at this point. At the bottom line is that if you get into a much larger organization, it's just going to look like a different contract. That's it. It's the contract terms that change. But the otherwise, there's room for just about everybody. As far as I can see, I say just about because I can't think of anybody that is not eligible. It's
Yep.
just going to be dictated by different agreement terms. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to throw this in there too. Let's say somebody had a friend who is part of a housing group. Would that be a possible opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're talking HOA, condo
Yep.
associations, that type of thing. Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Okay, fantastic. And how
Yep.
about how about how about I don't know, landlords that have large apartment complexes? Would
Ab-
that be a
ab-
potential?
Absolutely. We're in the process, since we deployed late December, we're in the process of enrolling a number of units that are owned effectively by a landlord. It's sort of a multi-tenant scenario, if you will.
Love
Um,
it.
yep.
Love it. Okay, so I'm just going to touch on I'm going to show these slides really quickly because this is the enrollment flow that Steve is talking about. It's like you go to your get link, you put in the zip code, it pops up with the enrollment application for a commercial customer, and it has
Mhm.
all the documentation right there. Like the customers can actually see it, they can click on the links, they can go through and see exactly what Steve is talking about. And then there's a simple enrollment flow. Steve, can you just talk about this particular slide? Like what do we need to do here? Because
Yep.
everybody can get to their get link and put a zip code in and see the offer. This is
Yep.
where the rubber meets the road, is this part of the enrollment flow.
That's right. Yeah, and for any of you who have enrolled a single customer at this point, or hopefully a lot more, then this should look very familiar. It's effectively looks just like the residential enrollment flow. We're collecting the differences is that we've added a company name in here on the top left side here on the first visual of the enrollment. So there's a company name, and then there's contact information just as you would typically see it. And then there's a title for the person who's actually being enrolled here as well. So that's the main difference. When you get over to the second side here on the right, the snapshot for the entering service address, you'll notice down on the bottom there's an option for add another account. And so in this case, again, it's kind of starting from the bottom up. If you have a friend who has, 3 residential homes that they want to enroll, that's considered a multi-meter account. From my perspective, they're different accounts, but it's a single owner who has 3 accounts they want to enroll. And so you can hit add another account after entering the first, hit add another, and you can do that as many times as you have. So if you've got 100 accounts, you can add them all here. If you've got 4 accounts, you can add them all here. But that's everything else should look pretty familiar from there. And I would just say that if it is an individual who's just a friend, happens to own the 3 houses next door to each other, you don't have to put a company name. You can just put not applicable. It's okay. And so we're trying to make this flexible where we need to know if the company, if there is an LLC, we want to know who it is. If it isn't an LLC, it's just an individual who owns a couple of units, that's okay. You can put not applicable.
Love it, Steve. Well, that's you guys, that's where the rubber meets the road. And then Steve can talk about what to expect after submission. He's already touched on that anyway, but let's get to some questions, Steve, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, so first one we have up is Mr. MM. I think it's Mark Milstein. Yes, it is. Mark, go right ahead. Bring it.
Very good. Thanks, Tony. Sorry, I just got back into the States. I just have 2 minor questions. So if I have a building with 400 units, but they're all individual payment, those are not considered multi-meter. Those are considered individuals, I believe, correct?
Yep. Yeah. If you two. Yep. It is a single building mark with 200 units. Then there's going to be it in. I would expect that there's 200 utility accounts and 200
Right.
invoices that come from the utility every month. So each one of those is eligible under this. I would call this the multi-meter enrollment flow. It's the same flow. There's nothing. You just choose the commercial. We want to enter all of the units into the enrollment flow here. And what will happen on the back end is we'll share that data with Nexamp. They'll see that the contact information is all tied together, 200 units, one contact. That's effectively considered one enrollment at some level. And then Nexamp will take that and evaluate and identify which contract is the most appropriate. And then the contracts,
Right.
just so everybody hears this, again, go through the training. We talk quite a bit about it, but the contracts will be determined by effectively aggregated usage in this case, Mark. So 200 units, they'll look at the usage of each unit, aggregate that together, and then determine which contract to give you. My guess at that point is it'll be the 3-year commitment agreement and maybe a credit check, maybe a credit review. But that'll just be a business credit review at that point. So it won't hit the customer in a negative way on their credit report.
Right. Okay.
Fantastic.
And the other question, the only other question I have is there a maximum kilowatt that is allowed?
There's not. It really comes back down to, if we get into millions of kilowatt hours aggregated across the units, then it just changes the terms of the agreement. That's all. And so most of the enrollments we've seen so far have fallen into that, I would call it, less than 250,000 kilowatt hours a year aggregated in usage. And those are generally, at that point, you're in a 3-year commitment. Maybe there's a credit review, maybe not, and that's really it. So it's pretty straightforward. If we get into something larger than that, then Nexamp will get back to us, and we can work together on what it is that's made available to the customer. But there will be an opportunity for effectively everyone, as far as I've seen so far.
Fantastic, Steve. Love it.
Okay.
We're going to go over.
And
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
let me just ask one other question. I have enrolled quite a few commercials already, and I haven't seen anything come through my back office. Is there a time? How long is the time procedure going to be before we see something, or am I going to get some type of? Am I going to be some type of communication where this customer stands, or what is needed, or
Yep.
once I submit it, it's out of my hands, of course, but am I going to be notified of any type of processes that are being developed right now?
Yep. Yeah. And so, Mark, we're working through this as well. So I'd say that right now, since we're not just signing, it's not just a single residential enrollment, where, as you all know on the phone here, you go through that process. There's a validation process from Nexamp's side that syncs back with our system that would then hit to your back office, so you can see customers that are pending and the like, or rejected, or whatever it is that their status may be. It's very similar. I would just say I'd say add 1 to 2 weeks to the existing process, plus minus. It's, again, since it's a manual evaluation by Nexamp, what'll happen is we've estimated that it takes about 7 to 10 days plus minus for the enrollment to then get processed or reviewed by Nexamp. And it may be a little bit more. Hopefully it's in this realm, It's once they've identified, again, I'll just stick with a simple example. 200 units may take some time, and you should let me know when those go in, if it's more kind of robust like that. But, if it's 3, 5, 10, 15 units that go into the enrollment flow, and they all get processed into the enrollment flow at the same time, we've got all the right information, we send it over to Nexamp every couple of days, then they take, I'd say within 7 to 10 days, we should have some response. If there's no issues with the data that went in, and the bill uploads and all the like, Nexamp doesn't need any additional information on any of the accounts. They'll determine what subscriber agreement these accounts are eligible for, and Nexamp should just be sending a DocuSign out to the customer themselves. So just keep that in mind as well. After the customer enrolls, I would let them know that they should keep their eyes open for a DocuSign from Nexamp. And so once that agreement is signed, then Nexamp's automatically notified of the agreement being signed, and then they'll process and sync back with us, at which point it hits your back office. But I just ask everybody to be patient, and feel free to reach out if you've put enrollments in and are looking for updates. We'll do our best to kind of keep you updated. But we'll continue to make this more automated as time goes on as well. The important part is that we've made commercial enrollments available, and we can start enrolling right away.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Yep. And Mark, do reach out to me, Mark. I know you've been doing a lot of work on this.
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Okay, we're gonna move over to Scott Rose is next in line. Go ahead, Scott.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Steve, obviously this provides a process moving forward. What happens to the 10 to 15 accounts previously submitted?
Yep. So Scott, we're going through those to make sure everything's updated appropriately. A lot of the customers, I can talk with you offline as well, because I know you've put a lot in as well. So if you've got questions, anything that's outstanding, let's connect offline on that.
Okay. And also, what happens if you have multiple commercial, but they're not more than 30,000?
If you've got, so that's a great question, Scott. So if you have a commercial rate class and it's just a single account that's less than 30,000 kilowatt hours, plus minus, but that's kind of a good threshold, you just put it right through the residential enrollment form. If it gets rejected for any reason, then just let me know. But generally, Nexamp is thinking about enrollments. It's this is really kind of the beauty of how Nexamp's looking at Illinois, and we don't see this in a lot of other states. Most states require residential rate class for subscriptions to process. Nexamp has said, hey, it's while we could think about it that rigidly, we don't have to, and we'd like to open up the doors for commercial enrollment. So if you have a small commercial business, which I have signed up, like a sub shop or someone that just looks like a residential user, but they're a commercial rate class and they're using, again, less than 30,000 kilowatt hours a year, you can put them right through the residential enrollment. So I don't want to confuse anyone here, but feel free, if you know for fact it's just a small user, they just happen to be a commercial rate class, feel free to send it through the residential enrollment form. If it gets rejected for any way, reach out to EA support and give us the information. We'll look into it.
Thank you.
Love it. Great one. Appreciate that. All right. Thanks for that, Scott. And we are going over to Steve, if you're still available with us. Got a few more questions.
Yeah, I've got a few more minutes. Sure.
Okay.
This is great.
Let us, because I know you're on a tight schedule with corporate and stuff like that, but we have Phyllis Nash. Are you there, Phyllis?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, so I'm getting a little confused. So that 200 unit building, that is not individually, they don't pay their own individual light bill, a landlord does? Is this the case you're talking about?
Yeah, that would be the case, Phyllis. Yeah, once in a while we see, like, call it a multi-meter building,
Gotcha.
right, where the LLC effectively pays all the bills, and that's the scenario. Yeah, if you've got a multi-meter, like, building where there's, call it 10, 15, 20, 200 units in a single building, and those individuals pay their own bills, then those individuals need to sign up individually. That's different. Yep.
And my next question is, I just got guy that has a longtime friend that has multiple gas stations. And so it's funny you're coming on today. So some of his accounts are over 30, some of them are not.
Yep.
So when I how does that work?
So this is a good question. One individual owns multiple gas stations, multiple accounts. Nexamp is going to look at that one individual. He's going to aggregate the accounts together, and if all the accounts combined are north of 30,000 kilowatt hours plus minus, it'll be contracted as a commercial or multi-meter enrollment. Yeah, so it's all about aggregation. I would think about it as like business owner. How many meters are there are effectively going to get aggregated to look like one for evaluation by Nexamp. That's the right way to think about it.
Okay, and then Anarfo, he was on here and didn't know if he was going to be called up, sent me his questions. So his questions is, if you have bills that have balances, does Nexamp accept them, or are they rejected until the account is up to date?
Nobody likes past dues is kind of the simple answer. I would just say that I think in this case, Nexamp is they're actually using their discretion to identify the right agreement for the customer. So look, like if somebody owes, has a average bill of $1,000 a month and they owe $10,000 for back bills, this is not a great customer, right? I think we should all use a little bit of judgment ourselves, and then just be aware that Nexamp's going to make that judgment call. But if they're a month behind, then this is probably okay. But it's not as cut and dry as try not to. It's not just black and white, right?
Okay. And his last question is the cap the same?
Yeah, the cap on usage. Yeah.
No,
so again,
no.
Yeah, customer acquisition bonuses.
Yes.
So the customer acquisition bonuses, they fall within the Think Plus compensation plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Steve, so eloquently put. I love it. So Sandy and Onofre, go right ahead.
Hey guys, good morning or good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Do you think in the future is Nexamp planning at all to offer the consolidated billing at some point for commercial accounts, or no?
We hope so, Sandy, but right now it's dual bill. That's kind of where we're at. So that's what I would expect for the near term.
Okay. I mean, good news is commercial accounts, like you said earlier, they're much simpler when it comes to that. They don't really, put much fight to it.
Right.
But with the question that Phyllis asked with the cab, it's basically it falls under the same depending on the band usage with commercial account is what the customer acquisition bonus would be, right?
We don't have a separate compensation plan for commercial community solar in Illinois. It's the same compensation plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And
All right. Well, thank you guys.
All right, absolutely. All right, so let's see. Who else do we have? We have Dr. Roz. Go right ahead. I think we have you on.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. There's a commercial account that has been signed up in my organization, Multimeter. All of the meters did not qualify for autosave. That's what they signed up for. Does that change anything because some of those meters are already on autosave?
I don't think so, Tony. I would consider this, Dr. Ross, as a totally separate opportunity. So, and that's the beauty of our company, right? Is that we have, multiple products to think about selling to the same individuals. So this is just a different product that you can go out and sell. If they were eligible for autosave, that's great. Put them in for community solar. If they weren't, that's great. Put them in for community solar.
Yeah, well, some of their meters qualified for autosave because they were,
That,
the $100,000 cap. But now with this, it'll be all of their meters.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Okay.
You got to bring those right back into the mix.
Let them fly.
Thank you.
Perfect. Love that. Great question, Dr. Roz. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Who do we have next? We have Linda Washington. Let's see if we can get Linda on. Are you okay, Steve, with questions still? You're okay?
Yeah. Yep. I've got
Okay.
about a couple of more minutes, Tony.
Okay.
This is great. We want to make sure that this thing gets legs.
Okay.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Hi. Well, I was wondering if we had gotten the multimeter on the one bill to be able to put it in now. I had a situation where I had 6 meters and there were only 2 choice IDs.
Oh,
And
yep. This is a great. Thanks for bringing this up, Linda. Yeah. So if you just put in so in some cases, Linda brought to my attention that there's an opportunity where there's a single account number or a single choice ID that actually has multiple meters. For right now, as I had mentioned, Linda, in the email, the right now just put in the single account number, and then during the evaluation process, we in Nexamp should be able to pull the information to see if we input the information for a single account number, we should be able to populate in the back end all of the meters associated. So if you have a single account or a single choice ID and it has multiple meters, just put in the single account and choice ID and the meters should populate on the back end. And then I would just say as we bring these to contract, let's follow up and make sure that that's what happened. But that's what we've seen so far, Linda.
okay. My other question was about my account in Syracuse, New York. The rest
Yeah,
of the commercial is okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, Linda, let's take that offline because we don't have an enrollment. It's a different enrollment flow,
Okay.
if you will. Yep.
Okay.
But
All right.
happy
Just
to
wanted
talk
to
with
make
you. We
Okay.
can chat this afternoon or in the morning.
Okay. Sounds great. Just let me know.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, fantastic. I would say, Steve, like probably the best policy outside of the Illinois program that we're talking about now is if somebody has a commercial account and it's in a community solar state, best to check with EA support, check with corporate to see if we can do
That's right.
something in that instance. But we don't have a specific enrollment flow program for any other states right now, just
That's right.
Illinois for commercial multimeter.
That's exactly right, Tony. Yep.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Hey, one quick question that somebody asked me this on our Saturday training, and I didn't get a chance to answer it is, so if we have someone who has, like somebody was just asking if it's an apartment complex where the customers are paying their bill at they pay their own bill. We have to sign those up individually. Well, what if the apartment complex has accounts that are like the parking lot, the
Yeah.
pool pump, the rental office,
That's right.
will those qualify?
Absolutely. Yeah, we call those house meters, right? So oftentimes those apartments or those buildings or those HOAs have common meters or house meters, and if those are paid by the business or somebody that you own, that that we can aggregate those. I put them through the multimeter enrollment flow, and
Yep. Fantastic. That's great. Love to hear that. All right, let's go. We have Steve. Are you okay for another question?
Yeah, I've got 5 minutes, so at
Okay.
1:50 I'll need to jump on another call.
All right,
I tried to
Steve.
carve out a lot of time. This is important.
I thought you
All
were
right,
asking me. I
here's
was like, I'm
another.
certainly okay for another question.
There you
Um,
go. Steve Wickham and Steve Condon, two community solar dogs. They've been around the industry for a while.
yeah. So, so you kind of answered my first question, and that is that this is particular to Illinois, and it's not necessarily a state thing. It's Nexamp's program. Is that true, or am I?
Yeah, Nexamp has yeah. I mean, it's that's right. I mean, the state has more flex. The program itself has more flexible rules around who we can enroll, but Nexamp in particular has enabled us to take advantage of that.
And my other question is, I'm actually in New York. I've got an organization with about 90 different meters, but they have about 50 group homes and special apartments. And I was
Mhm.
wondering, how does an organization that's supporting people who might qualify for LMI, is it the organization or is it the people who are paying the bill that determine whether or not it's an LMI type of meter?
Yeah, Steve, if you've got, so I know we're open with that. We should stick to Illinois on this one. You should reach out either
Good.
to EA support or myself, and we can vet through it. But
Okay.
there's we can work through that. If it's
Yeah.
National Grid LMI in particular, then that's a great next amp opportunity. We can talk that through.
All right. I'll reach out to you. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate that. All right, Steve. We've got a couple minutes left, you guys. Okay, let's see. Lawrence Moore, go right ahead. You're next in line.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Quick question for you. Would a church be considered a commercial account for commercial solar?
Yeah, well, so yep. Again, I've seen some churches that are north of 30,000 kilowatt hours. I've seen other churches that look like my own home, on a usage standpoint, and just keep in mind. So if you're not sure, then just put it through I would just say put it through the commercial enrollment form. But if you get a look at their bill and their residential rate class and or less than about 30,000 kilowatt hours a year in usage, that summary is always on the bill. Then if they're less than 30,000 kilowatt hours in usage, you should be able to put it through the residential flow, and at which time they can sign an agreement right away. But if they're north of 30,000, then you want to go through the multimeter commercial flow.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, guys, for that clarification.
Churches are great opportunities, by the way. We've done a huge amount of church work over the last couple of years, and it's really a great opportunity. They're always looking to save money as well, and they tend to get it.
That's why I brought it up.
Yep,
Thank you.
Always a massive opportunity there with churches for sure.
huge.
All right, this might be the last question. I appreciate that, Lawrence. Thank you. Might be the last question. Andy, you're next on the hook.
Okay, great. I appreciate this, guys. Mine's pretty quick. Who is our competition in Illinois for community solar? Are all the community solar companies selling to commercial? Is
Yeah, I
Nexamp selling
mean,
to commercial and we're just one arm of it?
yeah. I mean, I would think it. So, kind of an optimist, Andy. So, I mean, the reality is that we're offering the biggest discount in Illinois with Nexamp. So, who's
Perfect.
competing with us? Nobody.
Great.
Is that the right answer? I don't know. But we've got a better discount than anybody else with Nexamp. So, I'd say we have a better opportunity right
That's
out
a
of the
great
gate.
selling point. Thank you.
Yeah, but look, I mean, there's other folks that are selling in Illinois, and there's
Mhm.
other products that we're always going to have to compete against. But at the end of the day, it's a hook, line, and sinker from my book to say, hey, well, what kind of discount are you getting? Well, we've got 5% more.
Let's do it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Love it, love it. Hey, Steve, I mean, you've been in the industry for a while. I've been in the industry for a while, and I have a feeling I know how you're going to answer this one, but would you say that Nexamp is one of the top customer care type of platforms when it comes to dual billing in the industry?
Absolutely, yeah. And look, we have been forging a relationship with Nexamp not just because of their size, but also because of their maturity. And so because they develop, they build, they own, they operate, they care for their customers. It's all of the revenue is managed by them from the bottom up. And so they've put so much time and energy over these years to their customer care platform, their customer care teams, and the flexibility that they offer us in the market. So yeah, absolutely, I would say, Tony, they're number one from my perspective, maybe outside of us.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Okay, we're gonna maybe 30 seconds. Ted Moore, you got a 30-second question. Go ahead.
Okay, real quick, budget billing as well as the $125 offer. Is that good on business?
It's a good question. Actually, we should bring this up. The $125 offer. So one, it expires on the 31st of January. I think it's
I thought
for
it
those
went
who are
to
paying
April.
attention. I think you know that, but keep that in mind. And then I'm looking for confirmation as to I don't think it applies to the commercial enrollments, but I'm working on getting confirmation in real time on that.
I thought it went to April.
I've got word directly from Nexamp that they're ramping that down on the 31st.
Okay.
So
So we thought it
yeah.
was going till April 1st, and they're going to ramp it down on the 31st of January. So great.
Yep.
Okay. And what did you say? Do those count
To the
As
commercial
for these
checks.
enrollments.
customers?
Yeah,
Okay.
the question was, will the commercial enrollments get the $125 bill credit offer as well? And the answer that I have is I'm trying to track that down to confirm.
Yep.
And so I err on the side of caution and say I don't think so, but I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
I'll work on getting that answer.
I would say
Customers that are
until we hear differently, if you can put it, Steve, if we can put them through the enrollment form as on the residential side, we don't have to
Oh,
go through the commercial
yeah,
part. That would
absolutely.
count, correct?
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, yep.
Okay.
So less than 30,000 kilowatt hours, single account. Absolutely. Then that, get them enrolled before the 31st and they get the $125 offer.
the other part was the budget billing customers, the customers that are on budget bill
Yeah, are you asking if they're eligible
for the
to enroll?
yeah.
That's a great question, Ted. Let me find out before I think I know the answer, but I'd rather not speculate.
All
Okay,
right.
we'll get
Thank
back
you.
to everybody on that one.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I apologize to Lynette and Phyllis and Paul. We'll have to take the questions offline, get them to Steve or over to us, and we'll go from there. Steve, thank you so much for your time. I know you have another meeting to go to. You've been generous with your time. Thanks for being here today with us.
My pleasure, everybody. Great to see you.
Hey,
All
have
right.
a
Take
great
care,
day,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye
Bye
now.
bye.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.